Welcome to Big C Talks, formerly known as the No Name Podcast by Big C. Decided to do a rebranding. The other name didn't. It was too long, and it just didn't make sense. And then after taking more than a few months off, decided to do a rebrand, change the name, and I don't know if I'll have the new logo out by the time this drops. Probably not, but just figured I'd start the rebranding right now because that was a terrible name. And this Big C Talks might be a terrible name, but I'm Big C. I talk, and when I have guests, it's talks. So kind of stupid, but we'll go with it for now until take another few months off and rebrand again. But today, I don't know. I didn't really come in today with much of a plan to talk about anything, or really had a plan for it. But just kind of wanted to talk maybe a little bit about some sprint car racing results this is Sunday the 25th. So some results that have happened past few days, such as the Dirt Cup out in Washington, almost said California. But at Skagit, so Justin Sanders won the finale. I saw some things where it was like 62,000 to win, but I also think I saw 82,000. But it's definitely 62,000, which is, if you go on Twitter and you can to the NARC 410 series page, you'll see how excited and how much it means to him. Like it gets you pumped up, and unlike a lot of some other ones that you see different guys get and stuff, you can see that it really means something to him, and it's not just another race. Because with David Gravel won at Huset's, the High Bank Nationals finale, the 250,000 to win. In the clip I saw, it didn't seem like he was as excited, but I could be wrong. Could just didn't see the whole thing, but he didn't seem nearly as excited as Justin Sanders did. But I mean, still, both had really good racing. Both races had really good racing. Tanner Holmes, he had a great weekend out at the Dirt Cup at Skagit. He got, I think, a fourth on Thursday, a second on Friday, and then he got fifth on the finale on Saturday. So that's a really good run with him. Corey Day, of course, he dominated, winning both Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday, I think he came in third, I want to say, because I think Zeb Wise came in second. But still, that's really good. And just, there was 40-some cars each night. Great field out there on the west coast of 410s, where it's not really there's a lot of good drivers out there in the 410 ranks. There's just not not as many 410s, and but Peter Murphy at Skagit, and Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet, and Colby Copeland down in Silver Dollar Speedway in California, and some the guy that owns Rudine Racing, Kevin Rudine, him and Peter Murphy, and I want to say there's a couple other ones. What they're doing out there on the West Coast, bringing it back, the 410s, trying to build it up is really amazing and stuff. And you see that in other places where they're trying to work on building it up. I know on a recent episode of the Passing Points podcast that it was announced that there was going to be a pretty good size 410 race. I think I forget how much it was to win, but in November, after the World Finals down there in Oklahoma, and Talon Turner, a young kid, I don't even know if he's 18 yet, is promoting it and putting it together. And I guess there was hints of maybe next year there being a lot more 410 racing out in Oklahoma and stuff, and that's exciting to see. They got a lot of 360s and two-barrel motored sprint cars out there and stuff, and with the ASCS and the OCRS, and only know all that stuff because that podcast is amazing, and they keep opens up the world to a lot of different sprint car and midget racing and micros that like I didn't really know about too much. But back to Huset's. I didn't watch a highlight of that race like I did the finale for the Dirt Cup, but from I saw that Buddy Kofoid was looked like he was dominating the finale Saturday, and then blew a motor, and that really sucks. I think I saw somebody say that was like a 325k motor that blew up. Not really, but like with he lost a 250k that he was gonna get from winning. I guess it was not locked in that he had that big of a lead, and like 75k ish for the like what the actual motor would cost, and I just hate to see it. But David Gravel had to be there in the right spot, and he had to beat Rico Abreu and Kyle Larson and stuff, and that field was stacked all week, 60-ish cars, and it was nice that for both the Dirt Cup and the High Bank Nationals that the All-Stars had off this week, so that some of those drivers could go to those tracks and race. Like I know Tyler Courtney and Cy Lynch both were there at Huset's, and then Zeb Wise went to Skagit, and I don't know if any other All-Star guys went to those races. They might have went to like some like Fremont or Attica or something, race kind of like close to their home shop, or just maybe took the week off and stuff. And then PA Sprint and Speed Week started as well this Saturday, and was supposed to do Friday at Williams Grove, but it got rained out. And then Saturday it was at Lincoln, and Anthony Macri won a pretty good race. I had it up on TV when it was going on, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I was kind of doing something else, and but I saw like on Twitter everyone saying about how like the announcers didn't do that good of a job of hyping up the race, because it was going like a bunch of crazy passes. And I did listen to a little bit of a clip on Twitter, and you could tell they weren't as into it and making it seem as big of a deal as it was, because there was like sliders and stuff, all like good racing, but it just seemed like actually I think the announcer was like, it's hard to explain, and then didn't say anything else. It was like, hard to explain, and I hope you're watching, or something like that. And it's like, come on, like, get into it. Like, I don't know, but be like Gus Johnson, the college football announcer for Fox, like how he has some of the best calls there and gets excited and stuff and animated, and that's what you want in an announcer. You want them, it's like a good book. You want to catch them with a hook and bring them in, and just keep the excitement going and stuff, and just keep building on it and stuff. But I mean, track announcers aren't used to doing stuff on flow, so it's a little different with transitioning and stuff. But I mean, I don't know, it was still definitely want to go back and watch the highlights if I can find time to do that. The IRA, and I think it was in association with MOA series, they raced at Fairbury in Illinois, and I had that race on too, and it was pretty good. I think it was a pretty good race. I also was not paying fully attention to it because I was busy doing something, but Joe B. Miller won that, and there was a pretty nasty wreck. Brenham Crouch flipped pretty good, and that reminds me of at Skagit, Trey Starks got ran into by Colby Thornhill, and that was another pretty bad wreck. But yeah, and then I saw Darren Gallagher, a local guy from like Western PA or Eastern Ohio, like area that runs like local at Lernerville weekly, and maybe some other tracks around here. He went to Butler Speed. I think it's Butler Speedway. It's definitely called Butler, but in Michigan, and he won. I don't know if there was like a ton of cars, but you still gotta go and win, and he did that, which is great to see. And then I saw Cody Bova, who's another one driver that kind of runs locally some. He won the Fast Series race at Wayne County. AJ Flick, another local guy, got second. Brandon Spithaler, he got fourth, I believe, and he's another local guy. And there was a couple other local guys, like I think Jeremy Weaver, he got a pretty decent finish, and then Jack Soderman Jr., he got 20 something, like 21, 21st. I mean, I'm not sure, but still there was like around 30ish cars. So it's nice to see that they're making the A mains and putting together some nice runs and stuff. And you always want to see the local guys do well, especially against like big competition. And which reminds me of Cy Lynch Thursday, or I think it was a couple of the nights out at the Huset's, he made the A main. He finished like 23rd like both times, and he had a couple of like top 10 qualifying runs. So it's exciting to see them getting better with that McCandless team, and hopefully when they come around for the Silver Cup in July here coming up, and the High Limit Series, the Commonwealth Clash in September, hopefully him and that team are rolling really good and can pull off a win at a hometown track. And it'd be nice to see like any local drivers win or do really well. And I know he was real close a couple of years ago against the Outlaws at the Silver Cup, and dominated the whole night and led most of like half the feature, and then something broke in the car, and hopefully that comes around again and he can win a big race. And I know last year at Eldora for the historical big one, he was running really good and stuff, and hopefully, and that was his own stuff, and hopefully with the McCandless group and his he's a really good half-mile driver, so hopefully they can pull off like something special at like the Eldora Million or the King's Royal. It'd be really nice to see. But yeah, so I think today, the 25th, I know Knox has a 410 and super late model race locally here, and then Baps out in Central PA. They have the PA Sprint Speed Week race tonight as well, and hopefully get a couple good racing. I did see that the USAC race at Angel Park got canceled today, and I forget who won last night. They had a race last night. I can't remember who won. And then I know Illinois Speed Week, which is like Power Eye midget sanctioned. They've been racing. I'm not sure who's leading the points or anything. I just know Thomas Meserol and Cannon McIntosh got into it some, and that'll be something to watch, as they both obviously are running that Speed Week, as well as they both run the Extreme Outlaw midgets quite a bit, and the USAC National midgets as well. So it'll be interesting to see if anything boils like between the two and stuff. But other than that, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Next time I should probably have some notes. But one thing that I have been doing is I started doing this year is keeping track of the finishes and rewarding points for each Western PA 410 race, to do like a championship. I'd say, because it will be, I don't have the money to like have a points fund or anything, but it's just something kind of fun to do if I have the time, and to just see where, like, if throughout a season how well the drivers can do, and like who's the best. And like you'll obviously get some guys that run all or most of the local races, and then you got guys that might just run a couple and that. And I think it was last year I did a thing where I looked up what's considered Western PA, like the county wise and stuff, like the counties, and like would try to made a list of all the tracks within those counties, and then of course I'd like include like Sharon and Raceway 7, even though they're in Ohio, and as well as State Line Speedway, even though it's in New York, but they were so close that pretty much count, especially Sharon being part of Western PA Sprint Speed Week, and so like just doing that as a thing, and maybe hopefully someday, like, and like I don't know how, like 20 years or something like that, it'd be cool to see if someone could create like a championship thing like that. And I mean, I'm sure I could iron out some issues, like maybe like do like the top so many finishes count towards it, instead of just doing like, if whoever has the highest points, because if someone runs like, I think there was supposed to be like 60 scheduled 410 races in Western PA this year, and so let's just say, I mean, obviously some got canceled or whatever, but just to make it simple, let's just say somebody runs 40 of those, and then somebody runs like 20 of them, but like the person that runs 20 of them wins more races than the guy that runs 40 of them, but the guy that runs 40 of them will have more points because he'll be able to get 40 nights worth of points versus somebody that runs 20 races or even less. So maybe it'll be something I'll have to maybe do. Maybe like just keep track of the points, and then at the end of the year take out like the so many races, like, because I know Sprint Car and Midget Magazine, I believe, did something similar like that for like different regions for sprint car racing, and they did like the after 20 start, or no, shoot, how many? It's like either like 40 or 60 starts or something. I think I want to say like 40 starts, they take out the worst like 20, or not 20, but like once you get over 40, so like say you have 41 races, they take out your worst finish and only count the top 40 of your finishes, or something similar to that. But anyways, but right now I'll just kind of name the top 10 and like kind of where their points are at. AJ Flick, I have him down for 359.5 points. Shoot, accidentally hit a button. Jack Soderman Jr. has 239. Ball Felmy's third with 235.5. Brandon Spiffhaler 232.5 at fourth. Fifth is Brandon Mattis at 228.5. Sixth is Carl Bowser at 214.5. Dan Kurger is seventh with 200. And then eighth is Michael Bauer, 172.5. Dale Blaney with 167th, and rounding out the top 10 is George Hobart with 160. But as you can see, there's like some drops, pretty big size drops, like between points, especially with AJ Flick in first and with 359.5, and Jack Soderman Jr. in second with 239. That's because Jack Soderman Jr. is running the Fast Series, while AJ Flick is running mainly local. A lot of Saturdays he goes to Port Royal, but with how many wins he usually gets and running like once or twice a week at least here in Western PA helps. And he did all 5 days of speed weeks, and Soderman Jr. didn't. And the same thing with Spiffhaler. He's running a Fast Series, and then Bob Felmy, he doesn't run as much as some of these younger guys and stuff. Brandon Mattis is the same thing, but it's just kind of it's interesting to kind of look and see how the points go out and stuff, and so pretty much AJ Flick will probably run away with this unless I do like the top so many finishes. Well, even then he'll still run away because if I do like top 5 or top 10 finishes, he has like probably like 8, or he has at least 5 wins. He won, probably getting close to like, if he's on at 10 wins already, he's pretty dang close. I think I might have saw 8, that he had 8 the other day. So just be something to kind of watch. And I think I started last night going back through seasons before, and I'm using sprintcarratings.com is my reference for it. I also use not their website for a pick'em challenge I do with my friend Tim Friedhaber. If you watched some of my first episodes, he was one of the guests on 2 of the videos, and we do a pick'em challenge thing inspired by the Passing Points podcast, which was also, they got inspired by the Door Bumper Clearer podcast. So just, I mean, I changed it up quite a bit where it's not the same, and try to pick a lot of races, but get busy sometimes and can't always pick, and just just like life, get busy, can't do a podcast for fun, or can do the pick 'em thing or whatever and stuff. But yeah, I've only been to 2 races this year so far. I went to Port Royal for the first time, and Easter weekend, and it was amazing. Best track I've probably ever been to. Sharon and Lernerville probably are like 2 and 3, or but it was really nice. And then I went to Lernerville for opening night, and that was a great sprint car field. A lot of like Ohio tracks, like a lot of tracks got canceled around, like a lot of the Ohio ones and stuff. So you had a lot of guys from over there coming over, and it was really good seeing that type of field. And the fields around here have kind of dropped down some, but it is what it is. I mean, if money was, or not money, if racing was cheap, everybody would do it. And you gotta be smart with where you race and how often and everything. But just hopefully this year I go to a few more. I'm thinking maybe the 4th of July weekend, maybe going to like a race or 2 possibly. I want to say I thought about going to Lernerville for the Silver Cup this year, but I don't know. It's in the middle. It's on a Tuesday, and don't with not being at my job for quite a year yet, don't have as much time as like probably could, because like next year I'll have more times. But so this year I might not go to it just because trying to balance how much time I use and stuff, and especially with like doctor appointments and stuff, it makes it even harder. Because a lot of my doctors they're not in on Fridays, and I'm off on Fridays, so that kind of sucks. But I think I'm gonna try to make it go to the high limit race at Lernerville this year in September, the Commonwealth Clash. I should get a ton of cars, I feel, but never know. It's hard to tell with it being like a Tuesday race how many local guys will go and stuff, and with not knowing it, with probably assuming they won't get a good chance to get like real good money with all the higher money teams coming in and stuff. But hopefully get a good turnout of local guys, and not just guys coming for that travel with the series, or because it's that much. And like a lot of outlaw guys are probably going to be there, and Ohio guys and Central PA guys will probably make the tail. It's kind of, Western PA is kind of it's not a sprint car hotbed, because it just doesn't have the money around here for it to support racing in general, not just 410s, but just Ohio and Central PA, like both about 4. A lot of those tracks are like 4-ish hours away from 3, 4, maybe even 5 hours if you're really pushing it away from here. So, it's right in the right spot to, I think, be able to pull a lot of guys to for 50,000. I mean, that's not a small amount of money. So hopefully they'll get a good turnout. But I mean, just getting towards the months of money here. Well, actually, it started this past weekend with Skagit and Huset's, but I think the only other thing I want before I end this, I want to just ask the question: what are some of the 410 sprint car crown jewels? Like how like the late models and the NASCAR and like all the racing series and all sports have like crown jewels, like events like horse racing has like the Kentucky Derby and like the Triple Crown. I can't remember the other two off the top of my head right now. But like NASCAR has like the Martinsville race for the clock and the 500, the Daytona 500, the Brickyard 400. And even though they don't run it that much anymore, or I haven't in the past couple of years, I believe. Or like the Indy 500 is a crown jewel for IndyCar, and just a couple I could think of. I got a list that I thought of a couple on my phone. So obviously the Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royal, obviously the National Open, Williams Grove, and then other than that, I don't like. I just have a bunch of ones that I'm like, are they or not? Like the Tuscarora 50, I feel like is one, but is it considered by everybody to be one? Dirt Cup, at least out on the West Coast, it's considered one. Is it nationally? The Silver Cup at Lernerville, I feel like it is, but is not how it is felt nationally. The Gold Cup at Silver Dollar, the Dirt Clash, I believe is what it's called, out at Lincoln, Huset's High Bank Nationals. I heard it didn't have the feel of the Crown Jewel type race, and it's kind of new. I think it's only been like this. I think it's only the second year it's been a thing, but it has the money to back it up. The Jackson Nationals are a big paying race. I'm trying to think of some more. Like, just what's the crown jewels in 410 sprint car racing, and even what are the ones for the 360s? The 360 NOS, or not? I'm saying NOS. 360 Knoxville Nationals might be considered one for the 360s. What about Lucas Oil Speedway? I think it's the Jesse Hockett Memorial, I want to say is what it's called. Is it that one? And like midget racing and wingless sprint cars too. I mean, I just the main question is like, what are some of the 410 crown jewels? Like, I just because like one person in one region thinks one is it really? I feel like it has to kind of have like a national more than just a regional prestige. It has to have some national, like the Lou Blaney Memorial at Sharon. In my opinion, as a local, as it being like a local local track for me, that's a crown jewel event. If a local guy wins that means a lot. I mean, Lou Blaney was the guy in Western PA, Ohio area in sprint cars and big block modifieds. I mean, there's quite a few other good drivers back in the day. I can't think of the one that Ralph Corderson at Mercer. They have a memorial race for him. That I think that's just started and it should be built up in. I think he should be looked at as being put into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. I believe the stats of his that I've seen before merit him being in, but it's like just all these different races and stuff. It's like, what are the crown jewels? I mean, obviously the Knoxville Nationals, Kings Royal, and the Williams Grove National Open have to be considered. Like, they're not considered. They are crown jewels because the prestige, the history, the money, and I just want to know what are your guys's um what do you guys think are some of the other crown jewels that, like, is the Tuscarora 50 considered one? The Dirt Cup, Gold Cup, Silver Cup, all the cups. Um, maybe someday the Bronze Cup will be raced. But what are these crown jewel races for 410 sprint car racing? With that question being asked, leave a comment and stuff, and I'll be update. Leave a comment on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Even though I just said comment. Follow on Spotify, Amazon, or Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Rate 5 stars or whatever. Like, all that good stuff. Hopefully I get a little. Hopefully I become consistent with this. Especially I want to do a college football preview here coming up, and I just want to try to get more consistent with talking about like sports and stuff, and then maybe sprinkle in guests and not be so reliant on having guests. But that's it. Have some good times like Mickey, and just stay safe.